2011, clear from the air. I seroconverted. I got sick, clear from the air. I got infected. I'm not sick yet because I know how to fix this, right? We got that 10 years ago. So you're infecting the lab workers. You're infecting the first responders. You're infecting the military because you're forcing the injection on them. Lab workers were encouraged to get vaccines, and of course, we're thinking, well, yeah, we don't want to catch that. So in the case of back with HIV, Frank, when the hepatitis B vaccine became available, and this is the book again, the book and the movie the band played on. They thought hepatitis B was a cofactor driving the disease, along with other infectious agents, and so they encouraged everyone in the laboratory working with patients to get the vaccine. But they mandated the deplorables, the original susceptible. Sorry, I'll stop using that term. They mandated the original susceptible population, and that's only my disgust. I mean, I'm right now. I'm angry and I'm disgusted because when you did nothing to stop women who are already infected, lab workers who are already infected with this agent in 2009, in chapter 8 of our original book was an invitation only meeting with the highest levels of the government, the FDA, the CDC, and there's one person curiously absent, and that was Tony Fauci, because he's known for 30 years, and we haven't, that he shut down the idea that a chronic fatigue syndrome is an infectious disease, despite the fact that I wasn't the first woman whose career was destroyed because she isolated and identified a similar virus associated with chronic fatigue syndrome. So for 30 years, this man's been destroying the careers of women and scientists, and he stays in the background, like I call it the Wizard of Oz. He's behind the screen, and he's the little man, the little puppet, and people are all dancing to him because he controls the money, he controls the journals. Well, Francis Collins was, when I said the blood supply, everybody knows what happened and how HIV spread around the world, and to the innocent victims like Arthur Ashe and Ryan White and even Magic Johnson. It was put on his bad behavior. That's a cultural thing. But the vaccine, again, the vaccines were made in human plasma at the time, and nobody had identified the viruses we did. A similar thing, even though Charles Ortlieb is working on AIDS, and the woman's disease is called chronic fatigue syndrome, equally derogatory, and here you are. So I'm angry right now because the mitigation steps, the prevention, the educate the immune system, every single thing that comes out of his mouth is to drive towards his patents. And literally, we have spent at least 20 years, and all the data, these vaccines in these viruses, not only the AIDS and the CFS infectious agents, but the coronaviruses. We've tried since SARS, the severe acute respiratory virus #1. This one is called severe acute respiratory coronavirus #2. And the MERS, the Middle East respiratory syndrome virus, those two, the vaccine development's been going for 20 years. And every piece of data says that if you give the vaccine, you actually drive the disease, and the next infection could kill them. So there are terms called viral interference and other things. We don't need to talk about it, but the data is clear. The vaccine, they're driving the disease and killing the people, especially when they, unwittingly see the vaccine, see the virus again. So that all of that knowledge has been there. The flu vaccines driving the pandemic that we are here. And there's 3 or 4 publications over the last 10 years. We know that driving I call it the evolution It's not a natural evolution for a virus to go from a bat to a human, because it kills all the human cells. And in 1999 and 97 through 99, and as part of my postdoctoral studies, I was working in that Fort Detrick Biosafety Level 4 facility. It's called USAMRIID, U.S. Army Research Institute of Infectious Disease. It's a military post. That was a biowarfare division, Fort Detrick. The pictures are in the middle of the second book. The Cancer Institute and the biowarfare are right next to each other across a baseball field. So again, I went over there to work with Ebola, and my job was to understand why certain strains of Ebola killed human cells and others didn't. And so what you get is that landscape, that signature of disease, because it's the immune system that overreacts. It's the immune system that overreacts to the injection of the RNA or the nucleic acid. The vaccine is an injection. So but we've come to really bastardize the definition of vaccine, developing immunity, when in fact they don't.
How much of you talking about this kind of stuff is what got you in trouble, of you getting arrested? What led to your arrest the first time? What caused that?
I never talked about this stuff. I had no idea until that day I met Brian Hooker and saw his notebook. And then I understood